Welcome to my channel. Here we explore the teachings of Buddhism. Don't forget to subscribe and join our journey. Let's get started. In today's video, we will explore what is the Dharma. Buddhism is one of the world's oldest spiritual traditions, and at its heart lies a profound and transformative philosophy. The core of this philosophy is the teaching of the Dharma, a term that is often used in various contexts. It can refer to the teachings of the Buddha, the law of the universe, or even the moral code that guides us toward enlightenment. But what does Dharma really mean? And why is it so important for us in our daily lives? In this video, we'll delve into the teachings of the Buddha to explore the essence of Dharma. We will also uncover its significance and how it helps us understand the true nature of existence, alleviating suffering, and ultimately leading us toward liberation. At the center of the Buddha's teachings is the discovery of a truth that can guide us to freedom from the constant cycle of suffering. This truth, known as the Dharma, is not just abstract knowledge but a direct path to personal transformation. It offers practical wisdom on how to navigate life with clarity, compassion, and mindfulness. It is the Buddhist path to wisdom, ethical living, and mental discipline. To understand the Dharma fully, we must first look at the life of the Buddha himself, how he came to discover this truth and how he shared it with the world. His journey is both deeply personal and universal, offering us a glimpse into the nature of the human condition and our potential for awakening. Siddhartha Gautama, who would become the Buddha, was born in Lumbini, Nepal in approximately 563 BCE. He was born into the royal family of the Shakya clan, and his father, King Suddhodana, hoped that his son would grow up to be a great ruler. To ensure that Siddhartha would become a powerful leader, his father shielded him from the harsh realities of life, keeping him within the luxurious confines of the royal palace. However, Siddhartha's sheltered life could not prevent the inevitable encounter with suffering. One day, when Siddhartha ventured outside the palace walls, he was struck by the sight of sickness, aging, and death for the first time. These sights profoundly disturbed him. He realized that, despite his royal privilege and material wealth, all beings were subject to these inevitable realities. This realization caused Siddhartha great unease. He began to question the meaning of life, the purpose of existence, and how one could find freedom from suffering. His inner turmoil led him to make a radical decision. He left the comfort of his palace, his wife, and his newborn son to embark on a journey of spiritual exploration. This event marked the beginning of his quest for enlightenment. For years, Siddhartha traveled and studied under various teachers, learning different meditation techniques and philosophies. He practiced extreme austerities such as fasting and self-denial, believing that this would lead him to the truth. However, after years of severe practices, he came to realize that such extreme measures were not the path to enlightenment. They only brought him suffering without clarity. In a moment of profound insight, Siddhartha decided to abandon these extreme practices and sit in meditation beneath a Bodhi tree, vowing not to rise until he had attained the answers he sought. It was during this period of deep meditation that Siddhartha achieved enlightenment. He saw through the veil of ignorance and understood the true nature of existence. He understood the root causes of suffering and the path to its cessation. Siddhartha became the Buddha, the awakened one. He had discovered the path to liberation and the nature of reality. The Buddha's teachings would go on to transform the world. But the question remained, what exactly did he discover? The word Dharma has many meanings, depending on the context in which it is used. In its most general sense, Dharma refers to the teachings of the Buddha, the core principles that he discovered through his enlightenment and then shared with the world. But Dharma also refers to the natural law or cosmic order that underlies all of existence. It can be understood as the true nature of reality, the law of the universe that governs how things arise and cease. At its essence, Dharma represents the truth that can be seen, understood, and experienced. The Buddha discovered that the world, as we experience it, is governed by certain universal truths. These truths are impermanent, interconnected, and shaped by causes and conditions. The Buddha's insights into these truths are what we call Dharma. The teachings of the Dharma are not simply intellectual ideas. They are meant to be realized through direct experience. Dharma teaches us how to live in harmony with the natural order of the world, how to be free from the ignorance that leads to suffering. At the heart of the Dharma is the insight that all phenomena are interconnected and impermanent. Everything arises due to causes and conditions, and everything is subject to change. In Buddhism, the Dharma is also closely related to the concept of karma, the law of cause and effect. Karma is the idea that every action we take, whether mental, verbal, or physical, leaves an imprint that shapes our future experiences. Actions rooted in ignorance, greed, and hatred lead to suffering, while actions rooted in wisdom, compassion, and kindness lead to happiness and peace. Dharma, in this context, offers us the wisdom to understand how our actions create our future and how we can break free from the cycle of suffering by cultivating good actions and cultivating the right understanding. The Buddha's teachings can be summarized in what are known as the Four Noble Truths. These are the foundation of the Dharma and represent the core insights the Buddha gained during his enlightenment. The truth of suffering, dukkha. The first noble truth is the recognition that suffering is an inherent part of life. Suffering includes not only the obvious forms such as pain, illness, and death, but also the more subtle forms of dissatisfaction, anxiety, and unease that arise from our attachment to transient things. This truth acknowledges that life in the cycle of birth, aging, and death is marked by suffering. The truth of the cause of suffering, samudaya. The second noble truth identifies the cause of suffering as craving or attachment. This craving arises from ignorance, the inability to see the world as it truly is. We grasp at things hoping they will bring us lasting happiness, but because all things are impermanent, they can never provide lasting fulfillment. Our desire for things, people, or experiences causes suffering when we become attached to them. 3. The truth of the cessation of suffering, nirodha. The third noble truth offers hope. It reveals that suffering can be brought to an end. This cessation occurs when we let go of craving and attachment, when we break free from the cycle of ignorance and delusion. This is the state of nirvana, the liberation from suffering and the end of the cycle of birth and death. The truth of the path to the cessation of suffering, magga. The fourth noble truth outlines the Eightfold Path, a practical guide for ethical living, mental discipline, and wisdom. The Eightfold Path consists of right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These practices guide us in cultivating wisdom, ethical behavior, and mental clarity, ultimately leading us toward enlightenment. At the heart of the Eightfold Path is right mindfulness and right concentration, the practices of meditation. Through mindfulness, we develop the ability to observe our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without attachment or aversion. Through concentration, we learn to focus the mind and gain deep insights into the nature of reality. Meditation becomes a tool for cultivating the wisdom and understanding necessary to free ourselves from suffering. One of the core aspects of the Dharma is its ethical component. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that the path to enlightenment is not just about intellectual knowledge, but about living in a way that is aligned with wisdom and compassion. Buddhism offers practical ethical guidelines to help us live in a way that reduces suffering for ourselves and others. These guidelines are found in the 5 precepts, which are ethical principles that all lay Buddhists are encouraged to follow. To refrain from killing living beings, to refrain from taking what is not given, to refrain from engaging in sexual misconduct, to refrain from false speech, lying, gossiping, or slandering, to refrain from intoxicants that cloud the mind. These precepts serve as a foundation for moral living, helping to create a peaceful and compassionate environment. Through following these precepts, we begin to cultivate virtue, which is an essential part of the path to enlightenment. Additionally, compassion, karuna, and loving kindness, metta, are central to the ethical teachings of the Dharma. The Buddha taught that it is not enough to simply refrain from harmful actions. We must also cultivate positive qualities such as compassion, kindness, and generosity. By practicing these virtues, we create harmony both within ourselves and in our relationships with others. In Buddhism, there are 3 central concepts that hold great significance for the practitioner. The 3 jewels, also known as the Triratna. These 3 jewels represent the core of the Buddhist path, and by taking refuge in them, a practitioner aligns themselves with the Dharma. The first jewel is the Buddha himself, the enlightened teacher. The Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, is not worshipped as a god, but revered as a being who has awakened to the truth of reality. His life and teachings offer a model for anyone seeking liberation from suffering. The Buddha embodies the potential for awakening that resides within every human being. His compassion and wisdom show us that enlightenment is not reserved for a select few, but available to all who diligently follow the path of Dharma. The second jewel is the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha. As we've already discussed, the Dharma refers to the truth of the nature of existence and the path that leads to liberation from suffering. Dharma encompasses the Buddha's teachings on impermanence, suffering, non-self, and the path of ethical living, wisdom, and mental discipline. Taking refuge in the Dharma means committing to study and practice the Buddha's teachings, cultivating understanding and compassion, and applying these principles to one's life. The third jewel is the Sangha, the community of practitioners. The Sangha is composed of those who have committed to following the Dharma, whether they are monastics or lay people. The Sangha is an important source of support and guidance for those on the path. It is through the Sangha that we can find companionship, encouragement, and wisdom to help us overcome the challenges we encounter on the spiritual journey. The community is crucial because it serves as a reflection of the Dharma in action, a place where individuals come together to practice, meditate, and learn from one another. Taking refuge in the 3 jewels is a vital step in the Buddhist path. When a practitioner takes refuge, they acknowledge the Buddha as their teacher, the Dharma as their guide, and the Sangha as their supportive community. This commitment is not a blind faith, but a conscious choice to trust in the wisdom and teachings that have been passed down for over 2,500 years. One of the most important aspects of the Dharma is its applicability to our everyday lives. The Buddha's teachings are not abstract or distant from our experiences. They are deeply practical and can be applied to solve the very real problems we face. Whether we are dealing with suffering, difficult emotions, or the challenge of living in a world full of distractions, the Dharma offers clear and simple guidance. To begin applying the Dharma in daily life, we can start with the practices of mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment with full awareness. It involves being conscious of our thoughts, emotions, and actions without judgment or attachment. Through mindfulness, we learn to observe our mental and emotional patterns, and by doing so, break free from reactive behaviors that lead to suffering. For instance, when we feel anger rising, mindfulness allows us to recognize it before we act on it. We can observe the feeling of anger without becoming consumed by it. In this space of awareness, we have the opportunity to choose a response that is in alignment with the Dharma, perhaps cultivating patience, compassion, or understanding. This awareness helps us to live in a way that is less reactive and more thoughtful, reducing suffering for ourselves and others. In addition to mindfulness, meditation is a powerful tool for deepening our understanding of the Dharma. Meditation allows us to quiet the mind, to enter a state of deep concentration and insight. By regularly practicing meditation, we cultivate inner peace and wisdom. Meditation is not only a way to calm the mind, but also a method for seeing things as they truly are. Through meditation, we gain insights into impermanence, the nature of suffering, and the interconnectedness of all phenomena. Another way the Dharma manifests in daily life is through ethical living. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of cultivating virtuous qualities such as compassion, generosity, and patience. These qualities form the basis of right conduct, which is essential for living in harmony with the Dharma. By following the 5 precepts, refraining from killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, and intoxicants, and developing right speech, right action, and right livelihood, we create the conditions for a life of peace and moral integrity. The Buddha taught that ethical conduct is not simply about following rules. It's about creating harmony in our relationships with others and ourselves. It's about living with an open heart and acting in a way that is in line with the truth of our interconnectedness. Ultimately, the Dharma is not separate from our lives. It is something we practice every day, in every interaction, in every thought and action. By integrating the Dharma into our daily lives, we transform ordinary activities into a spiritual practice, leading us closer to wisdom, compassion, and enlightenment. While the Dharma is most commonly associated with Buddhism, the concept itself is not exclusive to this tradition. The term Dharma appears in other religions and philosophical systems, especially in the Indian subcontinent, where it originally emerged in the context of Hinduism. In Hinduism, Dharma is a broad term that refers to the moral order of the universe, a code of ethics, and the righteous path. In Hinduism, Dharma is also connected to the performance of one's duties according to their role in society and the cosmic order. Just as in Buddhism, Dharma in Hinduism refers to an ethical way of living in harmony with the universe and the deeper truths of existence. It is viewed as the divine law that underpins all of creation. In Jainism, another tradition that originated in India, Dharma is central to the path of liberation. Jain Dharma emphasizes non-violence, ahimsa, and self-discipline as the way to achieve liberation from the cycle of birth and rebirth. The concept of Dharma also has parallels in other parts of the world, especially in terms of moral codes or guiding principles for living ethically. In many religious and philosophical traditions, there is a recognition that the universe operates according to certain laws, and that living a virtuous life aligned with these laws leads to greater harmony and inner peace. In a broader secular sense, Dharma can be understood as the universal truth or natural law that transcends religious boundaries. It represents a way of being that is in alignment with the fundamental truths of existence, truths that apply to all beings, regardless of belief system. Dharma, in this sense, speaks to the universal human quest for meaning, purpose, and the alleviation of suffering. At the heart of the Dharma is the goal of nirvana, the cessation of suffering and the liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, samsara. Nirvana is often described as a state of perfect peace and freedom, but it is also beyond words and concepts. It cannot be fully captured by language because it is the cessation of the very craving that leads to conceptualization. It is the ultimate goal of the Buddhist path. Nirvana is not a place or a state that can be attained in the usual sense. It is the ending of the causes of suffering, the ending of craving, attachment, and ignorance. When these mental afflictions are fully eradicated, the individual experiences a profound state of peace, free from the distortions of the mind. The Buddha described nirvana as the extinguishing of a flame, a cessation of the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion. It is the realization of the true nature of the self and the world and experience of unity with all that is, free from the divisions created by ego and attachment. In nirvana, there is no more fear, no more clinging, no more suffering. It is important to understand that nirvana is not a mere escape from life. It is the full realization of life's true nature. The Buddha's teachings offer a path to nirvana by addressing the roots of suffering or ignorance of the way things truly are, our craving for permanence in a world of constant change, and our attachment to a self that is ultimately an illusion. Nirvana, however, is not reserved for monks or advanced practitioners alone. It is available to anyone who follows the path of the Dharma, who cultivates wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. The Buddha's message was that enlightenment is within reach for all beings, and it is through the application of the Dharma in daily life that we can gradually transform ourselves, bringing us closer to the ultimate freedom of nirvana. The teachings of the Buddha, the Dharma, offer us a profound and transformative path to understanding the nature of existence and overcoming suffering. Through the Dharma, we learn to live with wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness, aligning ourselves with the natural order of the universe. By taking refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, we embark on a journey of self-transformation, discovering the ultimate truth of reality. As we integrate the Dharma into our daily lives, we begin to see the world through new eyes. We realize that our suffering is not inevitable but can be transformed. By cultivating ethical conduct, mindfulness, and meditation, we can free ourselves from the cycle of craving and attachment, ultimately leading us to the peace and freedom of nirvana. The Dharma is not a distant or theoretical idea. It is a practical guide for living a life of peace, wisdom, and compassion. Whether we are seeking meaning, dealing with life's challenges, or striving for inner peace, the teachings of the Buddha offer us a timeless and universal path to a better life. Thank you for watching this video on the teachings of the Dharma and Buddhism. If you found this video insightful, Please like, share, and subscribe for more content on the wisdom and practices of the Buddha. Remember, the Dharma is not just a set of teachings, it's a way of life that guides us toward true understanding and freedom from suffering. With mindfulness and compassion, we can all live in harmony with the Dharma. See you in the next video.